Okay, very good morning. Anyone here from non-Linux background? I just want to understand. So, everyone from Linux background or anyone not aware of Linux? You can just write in the chart here. Okay, yeah, not Linux background. Okay, so Bommireddy, I'm not from Linux background. Raj, I'm from Windows and trying to upgrade Linux. Okay. Jaychandra, I am Linux, but not completely okay. Monica, I'm not aware of Linux. Raj, in the transition to Linux. Okay, great, great. So, Linux importance, I hope everyone knows now. So, even if you want to start your career in either DevOps or cloud computing or even AI, right? So, everywhere Linux, 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 right? So, how many people aware of it? So let me just share my screen and then we will see first some basics today and then we'll try to understand how we can also write a shell script. We'll just understand that and then we'll discuss if you have any questions. Okay. Just let me share my screen here. So I hope my screen is visible. Just text me here in the chat. Okay, great. So, so if you see the like Linux server like this black screen in the real time. So most of the times, maybe if you are working with specific technologies, especially like DevOps, as I told, or cloud computing, or AI, or there are a lot of other areas we use most of the times Linux, right? And once if you're good in Linux, basically, and you never actually use Windows. Means once if you get habit of Linux commands and all, and then you feel boring if you use Windows. There are a lot of reasons, like for example, see, if you aware of this, like for if you want to automate Windows operating system, any Windows related, initially before 2006, okay. So before 2006, I'm talking about 10 years ago story, or maybe 20 years ago story. So all the Windows administration, whatever the jobs we do, we should do manually. There is no automation kind of thing for Windows, but Linux from day one. So since it introduced the Linux operating system, it has possible like to automate the any tasks. For example, let's say I'm just running some command. Okay, just basic understanding. I want to check what is the present working directory. PWD is a command. I'm using putty. I have my virtual workstation here. You can see this is my virtual workstation. I installed workstation on inside the workstation, I do have CentOS operating system. So that means like it's a again flavor of Linux. We have different Linux flavors. For example, we have a CentOS, we have a Red Hat Linux, we have a Fedora, we have a Ubuntu. There are different flavors. So whatever, like for example, even Amazon has Amazon operating system, Linux operating system. And we do have Kali Linux. We do have different flavors like that. So let's say, for example, if you are already using, if you know already AWS or Azure, I'll guide you how to, maybe if you are aware of assume that AWS, so just one instant you can create instance like a Linux instance, and then you can use that. So we will discuss that part as well. But let's first try to understand very basic level. I'm just giving PWD. This is a command, present working directory. So it is giving what is the present working directory now. I mean, and I want to see today date. Let's say date is a command. Everything commands based, right? Date is a command. And which operating system I'm using, then one command again. So you name, it's a command. Which user I connected, just I'm running one command. Okay, so the name of the user is Babu. So very basic commands. Now assume that I don't want to run the commands manually like this, but instead of running this all the commands, I want to write a script. So what is actually script here? So the script is something to automate. What we are trying to automate. I don't want to run the commands manually. Instead of running all the commands manually, I want to automate that with one single execution. I want to run all these commands. So that is possible since we have a shell scripting here. So as I told, from the day one, when the cell like Linux introduced from the day one, all the Linux administration relevant jobs automated since starting. Okay. But Windows, if you observe, Windows actually it came with PowerShell. It introduced PowerShell in 2006. You may be aware of it. So PowerShell again, they actually came with the solution and all other like if you see here, for example, if I search for Windows PowerShell, I'm just comparing first and then you'll get idea. So Windows PowerShell, I'm just trying to search here. Let's see here Windows PowerShell when actually. Okay, so I'm trying to open this wiki. You can see August 18, 2016, not 2006, it's 2016, almost 10 years ago. I told the same thing, right? 10 years. So 10 years back only for complete Windows automation, administration related automation. So Microsoft came with one language called PowerShell. But for the PowerShell, again, they have introduced all the PowerShell commandlets. So we call it as a commandlets. Commandlets is again commands. So they introduced everything commands, whatever administration related jobs we are doing with the Windows, just to automate that instead of doing manually. You can automate if you are using PowerShell. So that's the reason a lot of Windows tools, for example, maybe if you take any Microsoft relevant tools like SCCM or any other tools, most of the times people use PowerShell to automate that. At the same time, for example, if you check the Linux, everything it's a commands base, right? I'll give you end-to-end idea from the basics to advanced level. We'll start one by one in the coming sessions. I'm just giving a comparison now. So Linux, it's a completely, we call it as a CUI, that is command user interface. Windows, it's a GUI, graphical user interface. But to automate Windows administration relevant jobs, even Microsoft introduced one language called PowerShell. But the PowerShell completely based on Linux shell scripting only. So what is shell scripting here? Shell scripting, we have a different types of shells. For example, see, I'm just trying to provide one command here. You can see there is a sh, we have a bash like that. So sh means born shell. Bash is nothing but born again shell. Similar way, we have a ksh, which is corn shell. We have a gsh, csh like that. But which shell we use? Again, it's a confusion, right? So we'll try to understand these all things. Okay. So let's first I executed some commands. Okay. pwd, date command, uname, who am I? Instead of executing this all the commands, I want to write this as a script. See, it is very simple. If you know VA editor, what is VA editor? VA is a text editor on Linux. Windows operating system, we use a notepad, notepad plus plus. What is the use of notepad, notepad plus plus? To write something. For example, if you see here, I'm trying to open notepad plus plus here. So this is the notepad plus plus. And let's say I'm creating a new file here. And then I can save the file here, right? I'm just trying to save it. Let me go here, Linux admin. Okay. Yeah, I'm just selecting one folder. And then I'm just giving a file name, right? So this is a file. So I'm writing Linux shell script because this is actually what, if you want to write some text here, we are just using any text editor. Notepad, Notepad plus plus, Edit plus. There are a lot of editors on Windows operating system. The similar way in Linux, we have a text editors like this, text editors. So what are the text? What is text editor means? If you want to write some text, I want to write some text and save the data. So we have a lot of editors, VA editor, Nano editor, Pico editor, Emacs editor, ED editor like this. And remember, no confusion, no need to know this many editors. Only just VA editor, if you know, that is more enough. Even interviews also people are asking VA editor commands. Let's say, for example, you are working as a something database administrator and you use daily Linux. And for database administrator, generally, we are experts in database, but not in Linux. Okay. But you are handling all the database administration relevant jobs using with shell scripting. And if they want to verify whether you are really good in Linux, most of the times, let's say for example, instead of asking shell scripting example, generally people also ask VA editor commands. Because if you are really good in VA editor, and then they can expect that, okay, you are really hands-on experience in Linux. So that's how some people are asking even in interviews as well, the VA editor commands. Okay, these are the text editors. If you know VA, it is equivalent like how we are using Notepad or Notepad++ on Windows. I'm using here VA editor. Okay, VA is a text editor to write any text. For example, see VI and then something test1. So this is a VA editor here. I'm writing this is Linux shell script demo webinar, for example. And I want to save this. I'm saving it. We will understand, we will discuss how to save everything later. And if you want to open the file, we simply use cat then file name. Now you can see the data. So in this test1 file, we have a data now. This is Linux shell script demo webinar. Like that, you can create any data using with VI editor. So what is actually requirement now? Whatever the commands I executed pwd, date, uname, who am I want to write this in a shell script and execute. See now I'm just writing vi something script1.sh. So this is the shell script extension. I have four commands here: pwd, date, uname, who am I. So just writing directly pwd, date, uname, who am I, and then save the file. So this is my script here, cat script1.sh. I want to execute this. I'm providing shell interpreter name and then script name, and then you can see the output. With one single execution, I'm getting the commands output here. So I don't need to run manually now every time. pwd, date, uname, who am I. Just with one single execution, I got all the commands output. How simple it is, right? Cannot see screen. Surabhi. Okay. How about others? Can you able to see my screen? I shared already like, yeah, Raj can see, Bamireddy can see, Jay Chandra can see. Okay. Surabhi, can you check or maybe, yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, if you observe here, I just executing some commands. Instead of executing, I want to do that simple automation. What I did now, I all the commands I just mentioned in the VI editor, and then I executed in one single shot. But if you think like if this simple, then everyone can write shell scripting, right? Then why we need to learn like this? Of course, there are two things now. One, you should aware of the commands. When we use the command, like let's say for example, I want to just check the system server health check, or assume that every hour I want to take this particular server, the file system usage. If any file system maybe threshold greater than something, uh, 90%, if any file system full, then immediately should send some alerts. But every 1 hour I want to run this. We need to know how to do the schedule job. Before that, we should know the commands, how to check the health checks, how to check this command like the file system usage, right? So based on your requirement, if you want to do automation, what is the first step? We should know the commands first. And then those commands, how we can automate. It's not just writing the commands directly. Sometimes we should know we have to define in a variables. Or sometimes we should take this data maybe in different logs. I need an output log or I need an error log. Or sometimes we should also write with the conditional statements. Sometimes we use loops. Sometimes we should connect multiple servers and get the data. And I don't want to write the repeated times. How to create a function. It's like other programming languages only, like if you know Python. In Python, we have a lot of things, right? So defining variables, conditional statements, loops, functions. It's also similar in Linux shell scripting. But if you want to write shell scripting, first you should aware of commands. If you're good in commands, then it is easy to write any shell script. But for that shell script, what we need to learn? We need to learn like conditional statements, loops, these all things. Okay. But now, a simple question here. Let's say I'm executing command pwd. Okay, I got the output. But again, I'm executing pwa. Pwa, we got error saying that bash pwa command not found. Anyone here if you're already using Linux, why this error message? First thing. And second thing, who is validating this command is valid or not? Now, when I executed pwd, we got some output. PWA, it is saying command not found. So who is actually checking that command is not available? Any guess, anyone? Anyone here? Who is checking that command is not available? Is it kernel? Okay, how about others? Who is checking this command not available? So, and many people said kernel. Mhm. Okay, so it is not kernel. So, kernel, it understands only the valid commands. Exactly. It's a shell. It's a shell. No, it's a built-in command, but someone is checking whether it is valid or not. See, I'll just give you very basic Linux architecture now. When you execute any command, okay, this is the process. When you try to execute any command, immediately this particular request, it goes to the shell. What shell will do? Again, shell means here, I just told there are different types of shell. In Linux, Bash is a default one, that is a born again shell. At this moment, just try to understand only shell. Okay, whenever if you are trying to execute any command, the request it goes to the shell, and then shell it will validate whether this command available or not. So where it will check this command is available or not. So generally all user level commands available under where it is available, all user level commands, anyone, any idea? So there are commands like this, user level commands, admin level commands. So user level commands and then admin level commands. All user level commands available under bin. Exactly. All admin level commands available under sbin. So whenever you are trying to execute any command, first the request it goes to the shell. Shell immediately it will validate whether this command is available or not from bin or sbin based on from which user you are executing. If the command is valid, okay, if command is available, then immediately this shell it will send to the kernel. So now try to understand here, shell is like a checker. It will check whether the command is valid or not. If it is valid, then only it will send to the kernel to execute that. So there are a lot of tasks done by shell generally, not only just verifying the command. Now we will see that. Okay, now if you observe here, when I execute a command, it is giving that bash. That means what bash? Bash is nothing but born again shell. So bash is checking this PWA command not found. So bash is checking PWA command not found. So where it verified from bin, the command is not available. So for this, we should understand Linux architecture in detail. So when you try to execute a command, the request where it will go, and from there, once the command is valid, From there, where it will go again for execution. So here you need to know what is hardware, what is shell, what are the different types of shells available, and what is system call, what is kernel. Everything we should understand that. We will cover end to end this Linux architecture. But just basic I asked now, when you run any command internally, who is validating this command is valid or not? That is by shell. This is a part of Linux architecture. And I told that, okay, all the user level commands available in bin, admin level commands available in sbin, right? What is this bin? What is sbin? That we should know the file system hierarchy. So the file system hierarchy, again, we have a root, and then we have a different file system hierarchies. For example, if you check here, so I'm just using tree and then just root. And you can see there are a lot of file systems under that. There are a lot of files and directories. But I want to just only see the exactly what are the file systems available. If you go to the root here, type ls, you can see there are different folders, different directories, each directory having one importance here. So you can see this is the bin. So if you go to the bin here, these are the user level commands. All user level commands available in this bin folder. Similar way, all admin level commands available where? Under sbin. These are the admin level commands. So in the file system hierarchy, we will discuss each and every directory, what that directory is, and then what is the importance of it. And then we will start Linux basic commands first. The basic commands will discuss how to create a file, and then how to delete, how to copy, how to rename, how to move, all the very basic steps first. And then working with the directories, how to copy one file to another, like one directory to another directory. And then VA editor commands we will cover end to end. How to use VA editor, right? So I told VA editor is more important generally. And then the permissions, to change the permission. For example, if you see here, I executed this script 1. Right? Without any permission. Now, if you check here for this script, there is no execute permission for owner. There is no execute permission for owner, but I'm able to execute this with the shell interpreter. But in real time, we use generally to execute the script using with the dot slash. When I execute the script using with the dot slash, you cannot execute this. You can see this is a permissions denied. Why permissions denied? Owner should have read and execute permission to execute. So first of all, what is this owner and what is group, what is others? What is R, what is W, what is X? How to change the permission? So we have a symbolic mode and numeric mode. So symbolic method, numeric method, we call it as. These are the basic level understanding. First, we should know all the commands, and also like working with filter commands. More important command like here, grep, scd, or commands. We'll discuss in detail about these commands. And then a lot of filters. We have advanced filters like grep, scd, awk. Similar way, we have head and tail commands. And even, for example, see, based on the fields, if you want to get the data, let's say etc password file we have. And etc password file, it contains all the user information. I want just only one record from here. This is the last record. So this is a one user information, Ravi, but I don't want the complete data. I don't want complete information about Ravi. I want only username. And then again, I'm using one another command called cut. So hyphen D is a delimiter based on the colon delimiter. I'm trying to print only first field. Now you can see only Ravi we are getting. So if you want to extract the specific fields, you should know the commands again, right? So which means the commands more important if you want to write shell script. First, we will concentrate all the commands first. If you are aware of commands, and then we will see how to write shell script. So as I told, the different types of shells, and we have a different flavors of Unix, right? For example, if you see, we have a IBM AX. IBM AX operating system default shell is KSH, that is a corn shell. We have a Solaris. Now it's Oracle product. So Sun Solaris we call it as. By default shell is SH, that is a Bourne shell. And Linux, again Linux has many flavors. But any flavor of Linux, if you see, default shell is bash. Now for example here, uname, it's a Linux. What is the default shell here? If you just run this command, you can see bin bash. This is the default shell. Echo dollar shell, we are using the command to get the default shell. So first we need to know the commands, and then if you are good with the commands, and then it is easy to understand and write the automation shell scripts. For example, I'll show you one simple script here. So there is a script called test underscore script, okay? What this script is, this is health check, server health report. But very basic commands I am using here. Now if you see, I'm trying to get only the host name and then date when I executed. And I'm just getting the disk usage, memory usage, CPU load, and top 5 memory consuming process here. And I want to check that even SSHD, which means what? The SSH service active or not. Important service status, I'm just checking. This is some very basic server health check report. But observe here, every time we used commands. I executed just now date command. You can execute the command using this shell script, $of date. You will get idea. Everything we will discuss one by one. But here just I'm giving as a demo purpose, like how we write a shell script like this. Now, when I execute the code here, see, I'm using with SH, but I told this is not the way to run, right? Not with SH. Now, if you see, when I run with SH and then pipe more, you can see server health report, host name, what is the date, disk usage, memory usage, CPU load, top 5 memory consuming processes, important service status, whether it is running or not, health check completed. But it's very easy like to write this kind of code. But if you want to write it, first thing you should know the commands and then how you can actually write this in the script, how to execute. Now see, as I told that we generally execute a script using with the dot slash, but again here, permissions denied. So what is the permission for this script? For owner, read and write, no execute permission. I'm trying to provide execute permission using with chmod. I want only for owner. So this is very much important in real time. People generally most of the times we provide 777 and then test underscore script like this. This is a very danger. Why very danger? Unnecessarily we are providing all permissions for everyone. For owner, for group, for others. Which means what? Even group people can execute the code. Others also can execute this. Others also can modify. This is very dangerous one. So if you are using any production servers and all, don't use this option. Then what is the best option? Don't touch group and others anytime. The best option always go with symbolic method. That is, I want to execute this code as a owner. I want to give only owner permission. Just execute permission for owner. So this is a symbolic method. U plus X I'm giving. What it means? Only for owner I'm giving execute permission for this particular script. Now if I check again ls-l, you can see only for owner I provided execute permission, not touched any group and others permissions here. And when I execute the code here using with the dot slash, now you can see you can able to execute. But there are a lot of things even we should know what is shebang line. We will discuss in detail about shebang line later. I hope you understood how we can execute the code using with the dot slash. So only thing permissions required, right? So how to give the permission? We use a chmod command like that. Okay, so now let me just share some presentation here. You can see this. Okay. And then after this, we will see even what are the topics we are going to cover. Okay. So Linux shell script, your gateway to automation. Basically, even if you are aware of commands, sometimes it is difficult to write code. So we should aware of it, how to automate that, right? Everything now automation. Everywhere, wherever you go, whatever the field you are in, everyone expecting automation now. So the initial days, it started with scripting. Like we have a lot of scripting like this. We have a shell script, Python, Perl. We have a Groovy, right? There are a lot of scripts, scripting languages. And then after that, it introduced some tools. For example, if you take a DevOps, like Ansible, we have a tool. Ansible backend, everything written in Python. So using with Ansible, we can automate something. Maybe from OS build to ID creation, installation of any softwares, and even if you want to, you know, start the services, like multiple things we can do again. I'm just giving again basic idea. But core again, what shell script for all the Linux administration or Linux environment. If you want to automate, you should aware of shell scripting. So that is the reason no matter even if you go with the DevOps or any other platform, if you are planning to switch the company and people are expecting shell scripting skills or Python skills, whether they do automation or not, that is different story. But if you are good in shell scripting or Python, your profile weightage will be high. Now, everywhere now we are just seeing this AI automation. Again, AI automation, it's not about just tools. You should know how these tools backend it implemented, which language, maybe Python, you should know. And if they are using Linux servers and then Linux shell script, you should know. So this is automation everywhere. This is a trending name, right? Automation. So especially now, all the platforms, everyone actually using Linux. Everyone should aware of Linux shell scripting and Python in the real time. So this is now mandatory skill everywhere. No matter whether you switch to AI or any other platforms like DevOps or whatever the trending data engineering, but we must aware of Linux and some scripting skills, either shell or Python like that. So now you can see the powerhouse here, understanding Linux like we will actually see how we can use this Linux and then security wise how it is important. And most of the times it's a open source, cost free, no license free, right? But there are licensed servers as well and community support we have. We will see that installation part, everything. Why Linux matters today? 97% top websites running on the Linux. Most of the thing, whatever currently we are using, the backend servers Linux only. The front end, it's we use just for Windows for user level, right? Because it's a GUI. So simple reason. Let's say, for example, if you go and insert ATM card in ATM machine, assume if it is asking some commands, layman they cannot understand that commands, and then it's difficult for the business, right? So for business means like the front end, all the applications it built using with Windows. That is a user friendly. But whatever you are doing, like when you insert the backend transactions, the backend everything, it's on Linux because it's more secured. Linux is more secured. But how we can say that more secured? We'll discuss that in the coming session. You'll understand comparing with Windows how Linux is more secured. And Linux, everything it's commands based, right? Okay, now if you see top websites of the world's top 1 million websites run on Linux. Last before week, I think last month, okay. I went to ISRO NRSC. I provided one Linux shell scripting training for them. I observed that everything they are using background, like, the backend servers, completely Linux. Whatever satellite is processing the images, and then it is sending back to this NRSC, and then they are doing everything, the backend in Linux servers only, the processing everything. So because if it's more secure, right? Most of the websites and most of the softwares it is running on Linux. And you can see the three cloud giants, AWS, Azure, and GCP, all built on Linux infrastructure only. The top cloud, you name it, like top three means let's say Azure, AWS, Amazon Web Services, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, everything built on Linux. And whatever we use, mobile operating system currently, Android, it's a flavor of Linux. It's a flavor of just Linux. So if you observe here, everywhere Linux, it is there, right? So most of the data centers, if you see, most of the servers, it's actually Linux. And I told that there are different types of shells, bash, JSH, dash, KSH, like that. We will see this in detail. So what is shell scripting? It's a just plain text file. I just explained it, right? For example, if you see here, cat script one. So this is just text file. For your understanding, I'm just giving this example. It's just a text file. So we call it as a plat file here. In Linux, everything it's a file only, right? So this is a just text file. And with the text file itself, you can do multiple things. So you need to know how the shell interpreter it works. So this is a purely scripting language. So scripting language, again, we should know what is interpreter, what is compiler. The shell script, it's an interpreter-based language, line by line execution. For example, if you see in the script one, I'm just writing another command called PWA. So if you check here, PWA command not available. But when I execute this code, it's a line by line execution. Every line it will check. First line, no error, it will execute. Second line, no error, it will execute. Third line, no error, it will execute. Fourth line, no error, it will execute. Fifth line, having error, it will stop the execution abnormally. Now I can see here, all these commands it executed, but last line not executed. But any other programming languages, if you see Java, C, C++, even including Python, not this way. Because those are compiler based, first it will compile the code, means what? It will check all the line syntax errors. If no syntax error, then only it will convert into system understandable code. So that is why here, even comparing with any programming languages, the shell script is very easy to write and implement. Okay, we will discuss these all things, right? And then now if you see the magic of automation, so why we need to learn the shell scripting? So it's a more efficiency, so automate repetitive tasks and reclaim hours of manual work. No more retyping the same commands. So that is the first one. I executed some commands. The same commands I copied in a file, I executed as a shell script. But that is a very basic level. But advanced level, as I told that there are a lot of things like, let's say every 90 days, I want to check any temporary files available in my temp folder. I want to remove if 90 days time, if 90 days it reaches, I don't want to keep the old files more than 90 days. Maybe for auditing purpose, keep only 90 days files and then remove all the other files. But how we can do these all things? It's very simple commands if you know, and then you can just write the code and then you just schedule it in the cron jobs, schedule jobs we call it as. That is what we are going to learn here. And the consistency. So scripts execute identically every run, eliminate human error, right? And ensuring reliable outcomes. Also, you can schedule it and then you can run the script anytime, whatever the time you want. And customization is possible. System administration, utilizations, anything you can simply automate using with this. Real world applications, if you see automation backups, this is a regular schedules backup taking every day, night, 12 o'clock, something like that. Every month backups. These all backups. So we'll see backup scripts, how we can write it. And log file processing, software development, system monitoring. So these are the some areas how people are automating, right? Using with shell script. So hello world program, it's a very simple one here. You just write something like this, okay? I'll show you here. So VI, any script name, I'm writing sample.sh. sh is an extension for shell script, and then enter. So this is a VI editor now. I'm in command mode and I'm trying to write something echo. Echo we are using to display. That is a print function in Python. Printf in C language. But here you don't need to write any, let's say for example, if you are writing a printf. Printf is a function, built-in function in C language. But you should also aware of it, that printf function where it is available, right? So we write multiple things, hash include stdio.h, multiple things you should know in C language. And then int main function. And then body of the program we write like this. But here it is very simple. You don't need to know these all things. Just echo what you want to print. I want to print hello world. Okay. And save the file. We will discuss these commands later, how to save and then how to modify and all. So my file name is sample. This is echo hello world. And when you execute with the shell interpreter, now you can see hello world message here. So this is a just open a file, cat command. I opened it and I executed it. So it's a very simple one, right? But when you write a multiple commands and then when you are trying to redirect that to the something output logs, error logs, you should learn new things there, like, how we can able to redirect these outputs to the output log, these all things. I hope it is clear now, right? So this is a simple shebang line is not required every time. So this is shebang line, we call it as hash exclamation bin bash. But when we use shebang line, we will discuss that. You'll understand in the coming session what is the importance of shebang line. So we are going to cover beyond the basic like variables, control flows, functions, input, output. This is what I told. We will actually cover multiple things. I'll also give you just a brief idea of what is the content, what we are going to cover. So first we'll try basics here, Linux fundamentals, Linux distributions, architecture, file system hierarchy, absolute and relative path. All the basic commands we'll discuss first. And then working with files and directories, how to create, how to copy, how to delete, how to rename. So if you know these all things, then you will be like, we can say simply, you will be like, aware of all Linux basics. So whenever if I explain something, you should practice. So you should get hands dirty because Linux, everything, it's based on the practice only. It's not theory. Everything commands, commands, commands. I'll give daily wise tasks as well, how to practice, what need to practice. If in case if you feel difficulty to install work like a VMware workstation or Oracle workstation, I'll guide you how to create one EC2 instance using with AWS, and then you can practice there, and then you can just stop that instance once the practice completed, daily 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So we have a free tier, we can create it and then we can practice there itself. Or Linux already available Linux online terminals also, but online terminals if you are using, we have some limitation for that. So we'll see that all things, okay? And then VA Editor, end to end we will cover all the options in VA Editor because most of the interviews people are asking this, even VA Editor commands nowadays, right? And permissions, ownerships we will discuss here. And then test processing tools, I told grep, we will see deep dive and SCD, awk, cut, paste, sort, unique, head, tile commands. There are a lot of other commands. We'll discuss that. And shell scripting, first we'll start with the basics, writing first script and then how to take input to the variables, how to define variables, what are the different types of variables available, how to define global variables, local variables, read-only variables, and how we can actually use these variables values in, like for example, function, if you define how to take that. So variables we will understand in detail here. And then conditional statements, loops we will cover in detail. And then scheduling jobs, how we can automate the scripts when you define any write, if you write any scripts, how we can automate that, how we can schedule the jobs, cron jobs, everything. And we will see real-time DevOps related, admin related use cases with examples. So a lot of use cases we will discuss. That's the reason, as I told, if you know the commands, and then it will be very easy. Like, for example, real projects like we build something, log monitoring scripts, deployment automation scripts, backup schedules. If you are using cloud, I'll guide how we can actually do the cloud automation helpers. These all the things it is possible with shell scripting. So instead of just understanding the commands, if you know how to write that commands using with scripting, and then as I told that any platform now, if you are trying to switch, people are expecting these scripting skills, right? So we'll see a lot of use cases like For example, disk usage, memory usage, CPU load, running server checks. There are a lot of other use cases we will discuss. Okay. So I hope you got the idea what exactly we are going to cover. So it takes around 25 hours to complete this all things. If you have any questions, you just type here. So we'll also cover some real-time mini project kind of thing, interview related questions, what questions people can expect. And you can expect that RHCSC, Red Hat Certified System Administration related topics we are going to cover. So there are two certifications. One is RHCSC and the other one is RHCE. Now RHCE completely it's a Ansible. Ansible, we should, if you know, see, if you complete RHCSA, then the second certification is RHCE, that is Red Hat Certified Engineer, but RHCE, it's a combination of RHCSA plus Ansible one. But here we will cover this RHCSA part, almost all the topics, along with shell scripting. Okay, so it's open for questions. If you have any questions, just text me here, or if you want, I'll give you unmute option. Yeah, so the session, it starts from Monday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. time. So Monday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. daily, same time, IST. Yes. Okay, regarding the registration and all, you can connect to this number. Yes. Any other questions, anyone? So hope you understood today's session. Just type C here in the chart if you understood the topics. How about AI? This completely Linux shell scripting we are understanding using with AI only. So, okay. Now I'll just reveal one more thing here. There's a value add. Like if you want to learn this shell scripting, first initially the basics, we will actually directly explain how we can actually use the commands and all. And once if we start the scripting part, I'll give you idea how to use this AI, means especially like AI tools to get this all the automation scripts. So that's the reason whoever join Linux shell script batch, for you, AI tools completely free. So AI tools, it's around 20 plus hours again. It's a separate batch. You can join anytime. So this Linux shell script, we are only just asking the payment for this, right? So it's a 25 hours around. If you join Linux shell scripting and AI tools, it is free. So here you will get idea how we can actually use. So we will cover along with shell scripting itself some tools, how to use this AI tool to get a help, like, for the automation scripts and all, right? But if you want deep dive about AI tools, there are a lot of tools now in the market, maybe like last month, because of Claude, how India's share market went down. Anyone aware of it? Yes, just type here in the chart. So now it's a crazy thing. Now see, there are two different wars now. One war we know how actually the Iran war happening. The other war is AI tools war. Every 3 months you can see one AI update, and then people are getting panic, especially software engineers. So you should know the AI tools, what is happening in the market, and then how to use these tools. Many people still not aware how we can create a presentations with AI, how we can create a visuals with AI, how to use this AI proper way for our job relevant things, how we can build your profile using with AI. because there is a ATS scanner, right? Application tracking system. So if you simply create your resume and then if you apply in whatever like Naukri or the other job portal, those days gone. Because every minute you can see in ChatGPT or Google every minute how many resumes are uploading. So you should aware of it, how we can smartly use these AI tools to do this all the things. So if you know AI tools, I can say that whatever the field you are in, let's say for example, you are doing some tasks, maybe 5 hours. Maybe you can complete that in 2 hours. Sometimes maybe in 1 hour also. So 10x speed we can do. Especially for example, you are doing some presentation. If it takes 2 hours, I'll guide with one tool, you can complete that in 10 minutes or maybe maximum 30 minutes. So around 25 to 30 tools we will cover here. Some of the tools, it is very much important for software related, but some of the tools maybe you can use for hobby related or you can use for second income source. You can also earn money using with AI tools. So this is a secondary income. So my every batch, many people are actually doing that. I don't know whether anyone attending here from my old batch students. Anyone attending AI tools and anyone heard that like our batch people are getting amount, means earning amount with AI tool? Type here in the chat. Any testimonials you saw that? I think you see, yeah, we have Giri in our batch. Akim got it, right? So there are many people actually earning it with AI tools. So we will actually see all the AI tools also. This is again, yeah. So no, I'm asking that, yes, you are attending, but in your batch, anyone got the amount with AI tools? Means like they're earning or not? That's what my question. So in your batch, someone gave the testimonials, right? Hakim. He earned, so he started actually just a simple AI tool he is actually using, and then is getting $200, $300 for one lead. So it's easy, but that's what I don't want to see. This is a completely Linux shell scripting batch, but I don't want to focus on that. But anyway, it is free. You can join AI tools batch, maybe weekend batch or regular batch, whatever. 1 year time you can utilize. So I can just once if you're registered and then you can also parallelly attend AI tools batch. 1 year validity you will have. So far as we are tasked to integrate our environment with cloud and ChatGPT. Yeah, so many people actually doing that, right? So integrating with many tools in real time. Yeah, Raj. Yeah. So be end of the course, how confident we will, as in, can we say I have 3 years of experience? Of course, you can say that minimum 3 years of experience in specially shell scripting. I'll guarantee for that. Otherwise, if you are not feeling that, of course, I charge very less. Once the course completed, if you're not feeling that 3 years relevant experience with shell scripting, you just text me. I'll return 100% guarantee that complete fee back. You note it down and then you have to attend all the sessions. That is the first thing. And second thing, whatever the task I'm going to provide, you should complete that. So people generally what people do like some sessions they attend and then later they get some shifts, different shifts, and then they think that we have a recorded videos, we can watch the recorded. It will not help for that. If anyone attend regularly all the sessions, along with whatever the tasks we provide, if you practice, I'm sure you'll get 3 years of minimum experience in shell scripting. So you can just keep that in your profile. You can say that I'm expert in shell scripting as well. If you are not feeling that, and then as I promised, you can ask the 100% feedback. Okay. So no one will actually give you that guarantee. Yeah. So, okay, I'm Babu. I have 14 years of experience. I'm currently working as a DevOps engineer. Okay. I started career as a Perl developer and then I moved into Linux administrator. And then from there, I came to DevOps and then now we use even AI as well. But my like expert is especially scripting, advanced shell scripting, and then Python we daily use. Scripting, especially at shell scripting, Python, Perl, these are the languages. Okay. Yeah. Any questions now? Anyone? Okay. So if no questions, we'll stop today. Thank you all then. Have a great day.